listening to Live Vedanta, a podcast about simple living and high thinking. Welcome to the second half of the Meditation in Life series. Thus far, we have learned about the need for meditation. In this episode, Vivekji guides us on how to prepare our intellect for meditation. Let's listen in on how we can take notice of our vices and convert them into virtues. For those of you who are just joining our Meditation in Life series, we first began the series in September 2019. We've put the link in our show notes so you can access the full series right from the beginning. And it goes without saying that this podcast is produced by a wonderful team of evolving and young adults across North America. Rupa Bhashyam is behind our cover art, Rita Patel is behind the gorgeous episode descriptions you hear, Nina Bhattacharya is behind the voiceovers and editing, and Amol Mehta and Vinay Malikarjun are the wonderful musicians behind the intro music. With that acknowledgement, let's tune in.
Hari Om and greetings from Portland. In the original Bhagavata, the teacher is Bhagwan Narayana, and the student is Bhagwan Brahma. And Bhagwan Brahma asks Bhagwan Narayana, "Who am I?" In the known Bhagavata, the teacher is Rishi Shuka, and the student is Raja Parikshita. And Raja Parikshita asks Rishi Shuka, "What should I do? Who am I, and what should I do?" And the answers to these questions are given as the first and second shloka of Srimad Bhagavata, a scripture with 18,000 verses. The essence of all of this is in the first two verses. The first verse, Satyam Param Dhimahi. Who am I? That is to be found by engaging in contemplation. And the second question, what should I do? Dharma projita. One should follow dharma. By following dharma, one is able to engage in dhimahi, contemplation of satya. I'll simplify all of this terminology. When one's lifestyle, and if lifestyle is too broad of a word, think about what you did today. What you did yesterday, what you're going to do tomorrow, that's your lifestyle. When one's lifestyle is introspective, reflective, and contemplative. In Vedanta, we would use the terms, a lifestyle that's oriented towards Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana. When my lifestyle is like this, naturally, my vision will be meditative. That there's no closed eye meditation and open eye meditation. There's no meditation room. I live independently, joyously, and in Vedanta we call that samadhi, where the ego is well and fully placed in the spirit. Our course is entitled Meditation in Life. To find joy inside of ourselves and to find that same joy outside of ourselves. And this requires change. It requires evolution of our lifestyle so that can filter to our vision. We are recommencing our course. We've completed 1 year, and now we have 1 more year to go. And we're recommencing during Ganesha Chaturthi. And my favorite name for Ganeshji is Vinayaka. Nayaka means the one who leads, and that prefix VI, the one who leads with Vinaya or humility. And that's a perfect balance of lifestyle and vision. So as we continue to immerse ourselves in meditation and life, remember Vinayaka. The first part of the text we're using, Meditation and Life, is entitled The Need for Meditation. I'm reminded of 3 types of people that need to be awakened. Swami Tejamayana had shared this with us. The first type of person is sleeping, and so they need to be awakened and can be awakened. The second type of person is pretending to sleep, and they need not be awakened, but they can be awakened. The third type of person is pretending to be awake, and they need to be awakened, but they can't be awakened. So everyone's minds, where are you going to go with this now? The sleeping and the awaking is ignorance and knowledge. Most of us are ignorant, and we can be awakened with knowledge. Very few of us are already enlightened, and we're pretending to sleep, living amongst the people, right? That's all of you, correct? And so you need not be awakened, but you can be awakened. And then there's those portion of people who feel that they're enlightened, and you can't wake them up, even though they need to be. And I share this because though Swami Chinmayananda has called this whole section the need for meditation, not everyone needs meditation. Not everyone needs meditation. You think about the people in your home. Are they supporting what you're doing right now or judging you for what you're doing right now? Yeah? You know you need meditation. I know I need meditation. But there's some who have not felt that mumukshitva, have not felt that need to evolve. So they don't need meditation. And the best example of this is the proliferation of meditation techniques. Meditation is not a technique. It is a vision, but nobody wants that vision, or very few want that vision. Everyone settles with this technique and that technique. Make sure you find out who you are. Which kind of person who needs to be awakened are you? The main message of this first portion is there's a significant difference between who we apparently are and who we actually are. Who we apparently are is the one we see in the mirror, the one we write about in an application. That's who we apparently are. There is chapters on the gross body and subtle body. But who we actually are, what's beyond the body and the mind, that's what needs to be contemplated upon. And if you think carefully of this whole first section, it should remind you of Srimad Bhagavad Gita's chapter 1 and part of chapter 2. In chapter 1 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, shlokas 28 to 47, that's 20 shlokas, 20 verses where Prince Arjuna is sharing with Bhagavan Krishna who he apparently is, not accepting who he actually is. And this doesn't end. Then in chapter 2, shlokas 4, 5, and 6, he says it again. despite Bhagavan Krishna chiding him, saying, listen to yourself, he says again that we should escape. And finally, in Shloka 7 and 8, Prince Arjuna accepts that there is a difference between who he apparently is and who he actually is. In that honesty, he realizes that he's sleeping, that he needs to wake up, and he asks for help. And it is in that period of Bhagavad Gita where Bhagavan Krishna just smiles. And after he smiles, he starts to teach. Chapter 1 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita is a prologue to the actual teachings. Section 1 of Meditation and Life, our text, is a prologue, is the preparation for contemplation. Once you can feel chapter 1, chapter 2 becomes much more real. I can relate to it. The same goes with our study. I know many of you would have felt, but I just want to start meditating. Just teach me contemplation. It will be ineffective. Impatience in any field will lead to inefficiency, ineffectiveness. Now that we're pretending that we're ready for the process of contemplation, we'll begin the second section of Meditation and Life. And the second section, as I just read about, is entitled Prepare for Meditation. This is chapter 13. One will know that they're ready for the process of meditation when their body is critically calm. The mind is critically quiet, and the intellect is critically still. If your body is not calm, you are not ready for the process of contemplation. And then naturally, a quiet mind and a still intellect. So you have to know if you've reached this critical point. Hoping, praying that we've reached this critical point. The preparation for meditation is facilitated by practicing Sakshi Bhava. Bhava is a feeling, and Sakshi means of witnessing, of observing. And the part of us that engages in Sakshi Bhava is it your hand? Is it your exhalation? Is it the doubt of the mind? It is the intellect. The intellect is the equipment that engages in watching. And we are to watch from the time we wake up to the time we sleep, what is happening in our inner world. Specifically, what is our intention? When you engaged in your professional work today, what was your intention? To create more profit, to be more popular? When you tended to your family today, what was your intention? Our intellect, when we practice Sakshi Bhava, becomes louder. And this is such a beautiful symbol, because in chapter 1 of Bhagavad Gita, it is Prince Arjuna that's louder, and in chapter 2, it is Bhagavan Krishna. Who's Prince Arjuna? The doubting mind. Who's Bhagavan Krishna? The decisive intellect. So to practice Sakshi Bhava, and in a very relative way, this means paying attention more, being more careful with people's names. You've heard me say that so many times. With your keys, where you parked your car, if food is getting old, and on and on and on. The more carelessness there is in our outer world, the more carelessness there will be in our inner world. That's all indicative that the mind is still running us. As we watch our whole day, when we're lying down at night, 1 hour before your eyes close, what should close? Your screens. An hour before your eyes close, your screens should close. And if this was happy hour, our kids' class, they would have all shut their computers as I'm speaking to them right now. Following so implicitly everything I'm sharing, even when I tell you that which is implicit, what is the implied meaning? How does this really relate to me? Now that our screens are closed, we have a full hour before our eyes closed. Part of what we need to do is journal. Journaling is a great sadhana. It is a great practice. And what this feels like is you're letting go of all of the negativity of the day. This morning in Portland, I ran 12 miles. And I feel, and I'm sure I look right now, like I'm jet lagged. Partly is that I am jet lagged. I'm here in Portland, but my body is just really beat up right now. And the way that I can let go of all of this just sheer tiredness is just to be horizontal. But meditation and life started. So here I am sitting vertical, sharing thoughts. Journaling is a way of letting go of that negativity of this person said this to me at work today, or I succumbed to road rage, or I overate, and on and on and on. The more technical word for journaling is detection. Detection. So all day, when you're practicing being the observer, that's called introspection. And at night, with a really solid journal, one that won't rip, one that doesn't have coils, one that is will endure water, on one side of a page, one complete page, you should write down about what happened during the day. Now, some may be thinking, is it just like a historical recounting that I ate this and I drove this fast? You should write down about your intention. What were the periods of the day where you felt very generous and helpful and pleasing? And when you first start writing, there will only be that you are the best person that was ever born. You're so smart, so sociable, you manage everything. But like Prince Arjuna, right? But eventually he becomes honest too. And we will start to notice my intention is actually pretty selfish, pretty show-offy, pretty standoffish. Last week I was in Atlanta at our Understanding Marriage retreat. And one of my first messages for all of the people that had come is that a spouse is like a scripture. All the spouses are feeling good. I want to be Bhagavad Gita. You be Ramayana. Because a scripture shows you your beauty and your ugliness. And I feel a spouse/family does the same. Brings out the best in us and the worst in us. This is all detection. Now the challenge is, when I realize how jealous I am, when I realize how lusty I am, I feel quite discouraged by all of this. I can really fall deeper into this negativity. This has to be negated. Negation means I accept this is there, and me escaping from this is not going to make it go away. I have to work on this. Okay? Please listen to what I'm saying carefully, because too many of us, once we get to negation, we fall. We quit. When I know I have these many vasanas, I have to work on this much, then I just don't do it. Isn't it at night when you thought you finished responding to all of your emails and they just keep on coming in? I quit. I'm just going to sleep. But they're still there in the morning. They keep growing. That's why in negation there's a mature acceptance. This is how I am. Now we all know through psychology, through Vedanta. Every time you tell someone don't, what do they want to do? Exactly what you told them not to do. Yes? So I'm going to tell my mind, don't be angry. Is that going to work? Every time I get angry, I'm going to feel I shouldn't be angry, so I'm going to be more angry at myself. Which is why after negation comes, put in the chat room, what's after negation? You've heard this framework so many times. It is substitution. That's right. Substitution is where you're practicing the opposite. So it's almost like you're more interested in another toy. So you let go of this toy. Now I'm trying to let go of my vices. So I have to practice virtues. And we'll try a quick sampling of this. In all of us, there are 6 enemies. They're called the Shat Ripu. Shat Ripu. In Sanskrit, it becomes Shad Ripavaha. Tell me, what are the 6 enemies that are common to all of us? Tell me any of them. In the chat room, share with me what enemies live inside of us. Greed is right. Krodha and Kama is right. Jealousy is right. Keep going. Mada, yes. Bhaya is not one of them. Okay, good. Good sharing. The 6 are, and generally this is the order in which they flow, is Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Atsarya. I'll share these in English, of course. Kama is desire. Krodha is anger. Lobha is greed. Moha is confusion. Mada is arrogance. And Matsarya is jealousy. Clear? Now my question for you is, let's go one by one. In all of us, Kama lives, or desire. Tell me, what is the opposite? What is the virtue to quell Kama? Share with me. Contentment. Very good. The opposite of desire is to practice contentment. Then we shift to Krodha. What is the opposite of Krodha? What is the virtue? Acceptance. Correct. One we accept the most, we get angry at the least. After that is Lobha, or greed. What is the virtue to end greed? Dana, gratitude, generosity. A greedy person thinks the more they have, they'll be happy. But the opposite is the more you give, you'll be happy. Moha, or confusion. What is the opposite of confusion? It is clarity, but how? It is through knowledge. Knowledge. When I'm unclear about what time my flight leaves today, then I get the knowledge. The airline tells me, this is your flight number, this is your flight time. I'm not confused anymore. Number 5, Mada, or arrogance. What is the virtue to end that? Narayana. Humble, humility, yes, yes. Give me some more. Acknowledgement. An arrogant person does not acknowledge who helped them be who they are or what they've done. Acknowledgement. And humility is the right answer, but I'm just trying to make this more tactile. The more you acknowledge people, the less arrogant you will be. And finally, jealousy. Matsarya. What is a substitute for this? What is the substitute? Love, happiness, enlightenment. I love these broad words that we use. You're right. Love is a cure for everything. Happiness is a cure for everything. But specifically, it is appreciation. Appreciation. When you appreciate one you're jealous of, you let go of all of the negativity and start to invoke that positivity. When, I believe it was at the Rogers Cup in Toronto, that Serena Williams had tapped out. She was just injured. And the Canadian player, Bianca, had gone and gave her a hug. And that was her role model, her dream athlete forever. And instead of being jealous of her, she went and appreciated that. You're the best. And I'm sure despite Bianca beating Serena Williams, she would still say she's the best. In that very moment, she would have said, she's the best. Then one can never feel jealous. You start to actually develop that positivity. Introspection all day with the intellect. Detection at night. I'm journaling one side of the page of a book. As I'm journaling, I see a lot of ugliness in me. This mirror is showing me so much of deficiency. And I have to negate this. I accept this. I have to work on this. The smart way to work on this is substitution. These are my vices. I have to practice the opposite, virtues. This whole framework that is being shared with us, introspection, detection, negation, substitution, will lead to the fruition of all of this is purification. Purification. In a technical language, we call that antakarana shuddhi. Antakarana shuddhi. This is going to be my last thought for all of you today. Antakarana shuddhi is this plateau. What is the plateau above antakarana shuddhi? When you have this purification, what will it lead to? Can anyone share? It will lead to... No, I'm looking at all of the sharings right now. I see someone had written jnana. That's correct. It is jnana pramana. The key word being pramana. Knowledge will become authoritative. Right now, we are all exposed to knowledge in endless ways, but it's not authoritative for us. We keep passing it on or thinking it applies to someone else. But once that antakarana shuddhi is there, that purification leads to pramana. Then when the Guru Shishya Parampara says, you are happiness, you feel it. So then contemplation becomes real. It's just a different dimension of experience.
If you enjoyed what you heard or want to learn more, share this episode with a friend or find us online at facebook.com/cmniagara. For those on the journey of self-development, Chinmaya Mission Niagara provides a community forum for seekers to listen, reflect, and contemplate. This podcast is produced by the Young Adults of Chinmaya Mission, an international nonprofit working to transform individuals through the knowledge of Vedanta. Until next time, inspire, love,